welcome to T Boys TV. We are back again with another hat show. Obviously, in this one, we will be talking about the Lincoln defeat, which I did expect, and we will be talking about, well, I guess, sort of the future of this club if this does continue and things like that. But yeah, before we get into any of that, Dad, bar the football, how have you been?
Yeah, all good, mate. All good.
Good to hear. Good to see everyone in the chat waiting as well. Big up to everyone. But yeah, let's get straight into it. So the Lincoln game, I said going into it, we play certain players in certain positions. It's not going to work. Like Ali, even though he didn't have the worst game, Nelson, I just feel these type of games you can't be putting these players in. You're playing a physical Lincoln side away from home. You can't be doing it. And it was found to be the case, really. The lineup, well, there's a few question marks originally looking at it, like we get into. So obviously Keeley in goal, as expected. Naismith, Anderson, and Mengi was obviously the back three. Saville, and in the midfield was obviously Clark and Nelson with Saville. Ali on the left, Longwick on the right, which I've said numerous times, it's not going to work as a wing back unless we play in a lower opposition. And then Yates and Wells up front. I mean, again, Nordos should have been starting the game. There was a moment after the game. I don't know if Bloomfield did do it intentionally, but he did. I don't know if you see it yourself, Dad. He shaked Collins' hand, but like Nordos come out and he sort of like, it looked like he ignored it. I'm going to be honest. Which
I can't. Yeah, it probably just didn't see him saying. I can't really see that, but
either way, he should have been starting for us. And then the bench, I'll get into the bench quickly. We have Bramall, who for me should have started. Lamine, who I did put up there for contention to start, maybe not as much as the others in the sense of he should have, but I think he should have at least come on in this game. Gabode, Makoso, Shaden Morris, who again, a few people argued to start, including yourself, Dad. And then Nordos and Shea. So looking at that, I was very surprised Kadoa wasn't there, to be quite honest with you. I thought he's been, one of our better players up there with the likes of Saville recently. So very surprised he wasn't, in the lineup at all. But like I say, they're them wing backs. I'm sorry, but in a game like this, you cannot be doing that. And, like I said in my reaction, I don't mind the formation itself, really. I know a lot of people don't, but it's the way we're doing it. Do you know what I mean? It's the players we're putting there. It's not going to work. And like I've said, if you go to a back four until Walters is back, I don't think you've got the personnel to do it because you're going to have the same flipping situations. You're going to be putting Longwick as a right back, Makosa as a right back. I don't want to see them there. They're centre backs. Yeah, I don't want to see that. Yeah, maybe when Hakeem is back, but that's long term. We're hoping on players to come back. People going about the squad depth. We're hoping for players to come back. Like Bloomfield's talk about Elijah. Mate, Elijah won't be back till flipping next year, probably. Like, it's not good enough. It's not good enough. And yeah, I'll be honest, as you could tell from my reaction, especially compared to Plymouth, I weren't too disheartened that we lost because I knew we'd lose. But yeah, it's just like, what is he not seeing that we can see? Like, this is the thing. I've got to this stage now where I'm not fully Bloomfield out, but I can't defend what he's doing. He's not helping himself, putting players out of position, even substitutions in games. Mengi should have been off at half time. He was all over the place. He's not helping himself whatsoever. And, obviously, the onus does go higher up as well. It does. I don't care what anyone says. At the end of the day, they're the ones who appointed him. Whether you want him in or out, they're the ones who appointed him, and it's just the same continuation of rubbish. And also, look at how Rob Edwards is doing. Whether you think that's going to last or not, look how he's doing out at Middlesbrough. So it's a problem up at the top. It's got to be. It's fucking got to be. And yeah, it's just a joke now. It's just a joke. And the fans had enough of it. The away fans that went. And for a lot of people that told me that did go to it, it was sort of like when we lost to Sheffield United away last year. That was my first game where I was Rob Edwards out. And I'm sure a lot of fans have sort of got them feelings with Bloomfield now. And, I can't defend him when he's doing these silly decisions. And even in-game management, man, like some of the subs, man, like I I just can't get on board with it. I'm sorry, but I can't. Like the guy, he's a nice guy and that, but he doesn't. For me, now I've sort of given him the benefit of the doubt, but through seeing him continuously week upon week, he doesn't seem ruthless to me. I mean, the interview after the game, he's going, "Oh well, we got Monday to discuss that." No, you should be going in there after the game and telling them what's what, and it's just I mean, Clark's interview weren't what he was saying wasn't really promising. We got a losing mentality. I mean, yes, he's been there longer. Like, compared to a lot of them players, obviously, I get it from that aspect. He's felt it longer, but it's problems everywhere really at the club. I think there's everyone to blame really. I think from players to manager to higher ups, it's just an absolute shit show. Like, let's just be real. But yeah, I mean, the lineup wasn't a great start, wasn't it, Dad?
No, especially away. You think that Bramall more defensive, Baptiste. Because the thing is, afterwards, it's like, yeah, we knew their threat from this side, from their goal kicks. Then give them something to think about as well. That's the thing. Like we have got a good squad. We have got quality players there, but they're not being utilised in the right positions and the certain tactics. Lincoln have that. They play it. This is what Nathan Jones used to do. We didn't have the best squad of players. We had decent players, but you playing your strengths. We're definitely not doing that. We should giving them things to think about. We should be putting the ball down, passing it with intense and intensity, and do you know what I mean? Showing that quality, believing in yourselves that is gonna help you in games at the fucking very least. But yeah, we've seen it a few times. It doesn't work. It's better as a centre back. And then it goes through to the whole squad, and Saville had probably second poorest game of the season. Wasn't great. Was involved in a couple of things though still. But you ain't gonna just blame him. You know what I mean? Like defensively, we were terrible. Mengi, obviously, we found out that he started. Obviously, we know he's not match fit because Makoso was late for training, got punished, and you don't play. I get that. I do get that. But but then he defended him. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and just to come in quickly on that, Dad. The thing I will say about that is, he's not turned up. Fair enough. You punish him. Well, don't bring him on then at all. And I know Mengi was all over the place, but it's like, well, you sort of punished Naismith that time he got the red card. Didn't play him against Middlesbrough in that game after at all. Didn't bring him on. So why is it not a similar thing there? You're sort of contradicting yourself because then you've brung him on. So it can't be that bad what he's done. And he even said in the interview, and I know you're just about to refer to it, Dad, he was still like, oh, he's a young boy, rare tear tear. Do you know what I mean? If he was like one of the older ones doing that, I could understand. And, we know with Makoso, it's obviously took him a while to, get used to the, the English language and things like that. Do you know what I mean? Like, maybe, who knows? The communication might need to be better with him with a specific time or something. Who knows? I don't think it's that, like, when he's been on the form he's been one of our best defenders. I know in the game when he come on, he weren't great. But before that, prior to that, he was one of our best defenders. And we always put him in a lineup because he brings that pace element out of that back three. Naismith's not fast and Anderson's not fast. So, yeah, I didn't really understand that. But yeah, go on, Dad.
Yeah, he does the throwing. He's quite an important cog in our team. You took that out, you could find him, whatever. Like, that's not, it's not up to us to decide how they implement the rules or whatever. But it was the other, the line. Yates weren't great in the last couple of games. Nordas pushed himself into that team. He did say he started Longwick because down that side, or he's taller. If we give him that extra, physical, but we need that up front as well. You need the balance, and we're totally imbalanced. That's our problem, and we've been like that. And the problem is, yes, we like Brent. He's a good guy, etc., etc. But it's reminiscent of Rob Edwards. The same thing last season. don't obviously we are, it's like repeat. We should be. It's early in the season. We should definitely be too good to go down with Collick in the squad. But 1-4 lost 4. No draws sometimes are the biting points. They're them sort of games where you think, okay, we didn't deserve that to win the game, but we got a draw. Or, we deserve, you're still unbeaten. We're not having that. After the Plymouth game, we should really have been bouncing back. That's the key thing. Normally we would. It's just repeating cycles, isn't it? And that's the problem. And I do think the board will act quicker than they did with Rob Edwards, because you have to, because whatever anyone says, fundamentally, I do think their aim is to get, promoted. So, we lost 4 already. Teams that finish, automatic top or whatever, they don't lose much more than that. So you're already on that. Playoffs, you can lose a few, you know what I mean, and still get in. And that's probably what we're going to have to look at now, unless we go on some mad run. And no one can see it. So this is where you do need to bite the bullet. I think give them 3 games to turn it around, I'd say. And then you've got to do it. You've got to do it just before, do you know what I mean? Like the next transfer window. Good interview by Three Counties as well. Asking the difficult questions, which everyone's been calling for. Not acceptable, But then you could see they were saying, 7. Okay. So we got, do you know what I mean? We lost 4 already. Half your games. We've lost half our games, haven't we? So it's borderline. I'd say three more games. If the performances improve and you narrowly, you beat, you get 4 to 6 points, then fine, or even 6. Do you know what I mean? But that has to be part of it. And I personally think that it's one of them where he's not quite respected enough by some of these players, because they've come from Premier League clubs. Do you know what I mean? Like they've some of them probably considered the manager that they was under 21 levels probably better than Bloomfield. Let's have it right, And the more we're suffering, the more do you know what I mean? It's going on him, because sometimes we do look clueless. There's that moment of magic, like the goal, the equaliser was fantastic. Well worked free kick, Ali, good player. Clark obviously on it. He was decent in this game. And you're seeing more of him being vocal on the pitch and that. But that interview, he looked lost. He looked broken. Captain, it's difficult. Let's get into the game, innit?
Yeah. I mean, the game itself, very poor start. And I said going into the game, we can't afford to do what we did in the earlier games in the season. Sorry, I realised that said preview the whole time. And that is be sloppy in possession. We were doing that in the opening few minutes, and it was, I said going into it, if they get the first goal, it's going to be a long, long afternoon. Like I said, they're unbeaten at home. They're bouncing. They're on a good run, unlike us. And they obviously did get a goal. House with the goal for them. And Mengi is poor defending. It's poor defending from him. He's not marking the player. And as much as I don't agree with Longwick in the position that he was in this game to start off with, he was actually marking the man that he was supposed to be marking. Mengi's just left it open, so the players, got space. He's finished it, and from there on in, I'm thinking, well, this is going to be long. And they were, I'd say, unfortunate not to get 2. If we were playing a better opposition, like someone who's slightly better, like I'd say Bradford, You know, you saw it in the Bradford game. You know, they went 2-0 up. You know, and they could have. They nearly scored an overhead kick. You know, in the first half, we only had 2 chances, 1 shot on target. You know what? Me personally, I didn't mind the Wells shot because, you know, at least he shot. He had a bit of space. Yeah, he probably should maybe put it on target. But, you know, Clark with the only shot, which the keeper should be saving, really. But like I say, I do agree with you. I do feel Clark was one of the better players in the game, definitely. And fair play to him also after the game, actually coming over. I mean, Bloomfield tried defending the players and said they all come over. They didn't. They were shook to go over, half of them, bar Clark. So, and I will give Bloomfield credit for actually going over, you know, because managers wouldn't. They would hide away and things like that. But the other players, they need to take accountability. Yeah, and I'm not hearing this, they're new players. No, we've had enough games now to look like a better football side. We've had one good performance in the league the whole season, and that was against Burton, who look like they're going to go down, you know, or they're for sure going to be in another relegation battle like last year. So I'm not hearing this thing, and it goes back to what you said a bit earlier on, Dad. You know, if the performances were there and we narrowly lost games, yeah, you'd still be annoyed, but you wouldn't be as annoyed because you know the team have tried. Do you know what I mean? But we're just doing sloppy rubbish. You know, that's just not good enough week upon week, really. And that goes, like I say, everyone has to take accountability, you know, from players to manager to, you know, upstairs. I don't, you know, I'm sorry, but they do. You know, it's everywhere. It's everywhere. And it's, you know, people go, oh, yeah, we should, you know, spend a certain amount. I'm not really on that trend. However, I can understand the frustrations because at the end of the day, you know, there's all this like we just want a bit of communication. You know, that's what it is. We want communication. Like, why we're just getting everything in program notes. I'm not being funny. Half the people don't read them. You know, they're not interested. You know, shout out to everyone that does, fair enough, but loads of people don't care. Yeah, we just want better communication. Like, I want to know, this is what I want to know. Why are the press conferences so early this year? And people might go, oh, that's not a big thing. Well, it could be because you could have a player available like Kadoa, and then for some reason, whatever reason, he don't get selected. Do you know what I mean? Like, why were they only 3 this season? Like, this is people might find this as little bits, but it's not to like. I like to know in it. Like, I like to know this stuff, and I'm sure a lot of you guys are the same as well. So, it's yeah, it's just bits like that. But yeah, the game. I mean, Collins frustrated us, in my opinion. I mean, some people are saying, "Oh, he was being a bit of a shithouse," but well, he's been one of the top players. At least we got, you know, we do the most tactical and obvious flipping fouls or tactical that I've seen in my life. You know, yellow cards all over the place. Was not happy with the amount of yellow cards in this game. Like you said, Dad Yates. I have to be honest. Personally, the games before, I haven't really agreed with the criticism on Yates, but the Lincoln game, shocking, absolutely shocking. I have to be honest. In this game, got a silly yellow card. Longwick got a yellow card, but again, he's playing somewhere he should not be playing. I don't want to see it. I don't want to see it because also with him, it's not even like he's like Kadoa in the sense of, you know, he can. It's not his natural position, but he can take on players. You know, Longwick doesn't do that. He's not going to do that. So I don't really understand what putting him there does. Like, the amount of games we've seen him that, oh, he played one good game there like against Peterborough, I think it was. Like, come on now, guys. Like, let's be honest. You know, he's not going to work there in these type of games, especially against this sort of team where they're physical team, they're on us. And it goes back to what you said, Dad. You know, we sort of, you know, we didn't try and play to our strengths. We let them just dictate, really. You know, and again, like you said, under Nathan Jones, that wouldn't happen. That would not happen. And, you know, I will mention it. You know, everyone goes, well, not everyone, but most people go, oh, yeah, you know, Bell was washed and, you know, Kaminsky weren't that great. Look at them the other day. People go, oh, yeah, that's Sheffield United. They ain't got a point. Mate, it's still a difficult place to go. New manager, they were right up for it. Could have had the manager bounce on top of that. You know, I watched that game. You know, all of that back. Well, if you want to include Kaminsky in the 5, that was all Luton players. Do you know what I mean? Like, and people said they weren't the greatest players. Do you know what I mean? So it goes back to that saying. It's and under us, I think we're too soft. There's too like. Do you know what I mean? There's not someone in there, you know, saying you need to improve. And I can't. I was thinking Bloomfield might be that, a few weeks ago, but he's like behind, when the cameras aren't out now. But I can't see it now. I can't see it. And, the press, the reaction thing, like I say, 3 counties, it's great to see them interviewing again. I mean, under Nathan Jones a lot, they done it. But, it reminded me of Rob Edwards against Middlesbrough. He was sort of like putting the blame on himself, like he should, let's be honest, because his selection weren't great. But just certain things that were said reminded me of that. And, like you said, that we have to, we have to do it sooner rather than later because, people say, oh, don't fall down that trap again. We ain't going down. Yeah, I'll say that confidently. Yeah, people can clip this up. We are not going down because the fact we've got 4 wins and we ain't played good bar one game, tells me we're not. Yeah, it's going to be a mid-table season, which ain't good enough. Yeah, it's not good enough at all. If we don't act, that's how I see it. But yeah, the first half shocking, really. Lincoln, like I say, could have been 2-0 up, and I saw this stat. I think it was from the first half, like big chances or something like that. We've got lowest in the league. That is not good enough for this attacking heavy squad that we've got. That is not good enough at all. But yeah, poor first half yet again this season, wasn't it, though?
Well, yeah, I think that in the stats is chances created, but goals coming from that. That's where we were lowest at. We create plenty of chances, but not put them away. And defence that was solid is just no longer solid. A lot of people didn't, rate McGuinness, and but let's be honest, since he's gone, we have gone kaput. You need a big man up front. Whether it's Nordas, whether he's not quite, he needs games to improve. And from what I did see of him, he was getting better and better. There's that. Keely made a good save in the first half. Nearly got done from a free kick as well, actually, before that. But it just weren't good enough, man. I'll turn the lights in the background, auto. But yeah, we'll get into the second half. Sort of more of the same. Then Menke come off after 16 minutes. Well worked free kick. Great goal by Clark. Real quality. He was buzzing around the pitch, trying to, do what he normally does in a better team. We'd be running things with him playing like that. So everyone just seemed to drop, like you said, Tyler. If they score first, and that's what we can sense, and that's the problem. And we saw this last season. It can't keep going on. So got the equals. Thought, yeah, well, I get a point. I never felt like, oh yeah, we could go on to win this now, because it just did get a draw out of it, and then more defensive nonsense, really. Makoto playing in the centre. He looked good against Barnett, but obviously can't play in that position. We have got injuries and players gone and whatever. Chiadozi, you know what I mean? Sometimes you just got to put, especially at this level, because the thing is, people go on about, spending money and that, but look at the teams up there. They ain't spent fuck all. They've lost players, Lincoln. Do you know what I mean? They've signed astute players who are doing stuff. Like the players we've signed should be, doing that, but they're not. So it's that as well. Look at Stevenage, how well they're doing. Bradford, who we lost to, we played poorly against before. We knew it was going to be like a little bit tough, but it was too easy for them. They haven't been top of the league. And everyone just come up from League Two, same as Doncaster, who, by the way, will give us a proper game. That, you know what I mean? The way we are now, they'll just continue the way they've been. They know their strengths and weaknesses, and we don't. Well, we should know our strength, technical ability, the quality of players we've got, but I don't understand. Like, it comes from the manager. Obviously, initially it's come from above, and pointing and taking too long to get rid of Edwards, etc., etc. But yeah, you want to give him a chance, but now he's got to turn it around quickly. I think he knows it, the team knows it, the board, everyone knows it. This time, it will not go on as long as it did with Rob Edwards. Absolutely no chance. If we beat Doncaster, you got to be following that up. Because that Stevenage game, that could be pinnacle. Because we really, let's be honest, we shouldn't be losing to Stevenage. But at the moment, they're doing well. But fundamentally, that from being in the Premier League to losing, away to Stevenage is just not on for me. With the players we've got, and we have still spent money. We've still, the players we've brought in are decent enough. It's just not showing. It's not that they're not showing it, but tactically, you just go back to basics. Our basics are fucking terrible. Because that's where you build from, isn't it? And you get your confidence from that. They're just terrible. And then you sort of persisting and you're thinking, no, I've got to stick with this. You've got to make them changes.
I mean, you even go back to last year, and the player's not here now, but when we lost that game to Sheffield United, Reece Burke come out and said we need to go back to basics. We still have not done that since. It's absolutely crazy. Like, don't get me wrong, a back three or back five, however you see it, can work. But when you're putting players there who are it's not their positions, it's never going to work in a million years. So it's just stupid. But we'll go through some comments because there is a lot of comments to get into. Big up to everyone inside. G1 says, Mengi not ready to start yet. Should have been on bench at best. Force why not starting Makoso. Yeah, obviously we touched on that. Big up to Rich as well. Fanny and Young Lab, Richards worth trying surely. Me personally, I'll step in first. I'll let you have your say. Me with Richards, I think it's one of them where it's similar to Nelson. I think home games against lower opposition or maybe even away games, it could work. I just feel it's a bit of a risk putting him in. Like, he should be in the squad more, don't get me wrong, but I'm talking about starting. But Fanny, I agree. I said he should have started this game, and I'm not saying it because I won his shirt.
If he was in Exeter's team, wherever we got him from,
he'd
be starting every single game. Because this is what some teams do in League One, because they haven't got them extra luxury players or whatever that we've apparently got. They will start a play, and he started a lot of games in for them. So, yeah, 70 needs to bulk up, but yeah, he's growing. Like, it's going to come naturally as well. You know what I mean? Like, can't force it. Like, you have to balance that shit out. He's a young lad, but his technical ability and his you can see that he could bring something. So yeah, now especially with Baptiste Walsh injured, I'd definitely be giving him a chance. And this, Fanny needs to force himself into the team. So what's he doing? Like, in pre-season, he looked pretty decent, better than probably Nelson did, and maybe probably a couple of other players as well. Let's be honest. And he's just not, just give. This is where you got to switch it up.
Yeah, I totally agree. And I think with Richards, you got to keep playing him in the. Obviously, hopefully, have him on the bench in a few league games. Obviously, as the season goes on, but have him continuously playing in that Virtue Trophy. As far as we get, and then obviously maybe say for example we did get to the final. Obviously, you want to play a stronger team, but I feel play him in that. I thought he was good in the Barnet game, and hopefully we see him on the 7th of October in that game, starting. But yeah, the others, me personally, I wouldn't. I know we got a difficult run. I don't know if we've got anyone who you would say or not. Yeah, see, I wouldn't start him in any of the games until then. I'm just having a look now. I definitely wouldn't start him against Doncaster because, like you said, they're going to be right in our faces. They know their strengths. They've got Molyneux as a top player. Blackpool away, it's a bit of a sticky game that. Obviously I got a late win against Barnsley, who were doing well, to start to the season. So I wouldn't start him in that game. And then Stevenage away, I wouldn't start him in that. But
yeah, but the thing is, like, I think you've got to. You've got to, because you can't, like, this is the part of the problem. Do you know what I mean? Like, not trying them, thinking, no, them teams too. Fuck's sake, we're in League One. He's played in League One. He's meant to be like a proper decent. Just throw him on. You know what I mean? Like say maybe not starting, but put him on for the last half an hour.
Oh yeah, bring him on. I'm not saying not bring him on at all. Yeah, no, I totally agree. Just feel starting from minute one. No,
all these people that are checking out games that have played so far and go, yeah, they're crap down. If he plays on that wing, all you got to do is this, that, and the other. In League One, it's easy. Play the long ball over. They're not used to that. Some of these players that play these Premier League academies and that, they don't see that. Do you know what I mean? And yeah, it's things like that where you need a good assistant with you. Like Rob Edwards, another reason that he is doing well is because he's got the former Coventry assistant, right? Who was really, really good when them consistent years where they're pushing for playoffs, got to the final with us, semi-final was it of the FA Cup and all that, and pushing for things that you need that as well. And I don't think we've got that, have we?
No, we definitely don't.
So if there is to be a managerial change, you need to get someone who's a bit of a head honcho. You know what I mean? Who's got
bit of ruthlessness.
Well, that, but a lot more experience. Someone who's got experience in the Championship and will bring certain guys in who are operate at that level. Do you know what I mean? And then the recruitment team, a lot of people saying about them, but they was only introduced a few months back, weren't they? They weren't, the lists before and the players we've signed before. Were they part of that? I don't know. Do you know what I mean? But they've only just come in, so there's hold fire on that, I think, because some of the players we've got and we have retained are decent. You can't, we knew Doughty was probably the players that went. Either we wanted them to go, or we knew there was a chance of them to go. And obviously, we didn't, say
the only one that was out of nowhere was McGuinness.
Yeah,
the others, I totally agree.
But why haven't we should have been identifying a system? Right, I want to play this way, forward or back. That's fundamental to because this is the thing. Nathan Jones would have been saying that. Probably Rob Edwards would have been saying that. This is how I want to build. Do you know what I mean? So it won't work otherwise. And that seems to be the missing link a little bit as well. Do you know what I mean? Forget about the third goal. Too easy defending. Keeley probably should have done better. I mean, if that was Kaminsky, he'd have been getting fucking roasted for that. And that's it. Just get into the plan, right?
Yeah, obviously we'll go to a few more comments. But yeah, Lamine, what I will say, he should start more. I wanted to see him in this game because, yes, Bloomfield said he wants him to break through or whatever. Well, he said the same thing with Nordos. And then he, come in, done well, and, you couldn't really kick him out. And then he did kick him out, obviously, on Saturday. It doesn't really make sense. And just quickly as well, from his press conference, and I mentioned it, they sort of asked him what role does they want Lamine to play? Because obviously we know he's a CDM, but since he's come in, he's been a cam. But not Edwards. Yeah, that's how you know they're identical at the moment. Bloomfield has said he wants to see him as a number 8. So to me, that's someone who can do a little bit of both. So in that type of game against Lincoln, I think if you had a midfield of Saville doing the more defensive work, you had Lamine doing a bit of both, and then Clark being sort of a bit more advanced, that would have been much better. But the fact, is that elsewhere wasn't, good in terms of obviously putting Mengi in defence. Like you said, that, I'd be open to Chigoze in. I mean, like say, obviously we're at that stage, where you got to put these guys in, and he's done well when he's come on and played in the last couple of games. And, I just, all right, Makosa didn't turn up in time, whatever, but you still brought him on. So did you really punish him? You didn't really, did you?
Wow.
And I think that don't get me wrong, when he done that mistake, I was fuming. I was fuming because we brung it back and we looked like we could have maybe went on to win the game. But, he might have lost a bit of confidence from that, being on the bench and then coming on. And, you know what I mean? It's just stupid. Like, I can't agree with it. If he didn't come on at all, then yeah, all right. But Mengi should have been off it earlier anyway for me. He should have been off at half time. He's all over the place. Worst player. Him and Yates, for me, were the worst players in the first half. So, yeah. We'll go through some more comments. Yeah, we said that. David, big up to David in the chat. One word, get show. How do we go into the Stevenage game with confidence? The same, we definitely need a win on Saturday. If not, changes are required. I'm not just blaming Matt, it's the board. Yeah, exactly. Everyone's got to take accountability. In terms of that, obviously you look at it game by game, and I sound like the manager itself, but I say that more so now because we've got a difficult run. I'm not underestimating Doncaster at all. It wouldn't surprise me if we narrowly got something and then lost the next two games. Do you know what I mean? But I don't know. I think they're a good side, man. I mean, they're up there. Let's be honest, they're up there. They've just come up, so they've got good players as well. David also says, really hope we bounce back on Saturday, but if not, the fans will have their say again. It's outrageous. Yeah, too much of an ego. I do think that with some players, and we said that, last year, but I just think some of them just think they're better than they are. Do you know what I mean? They can just afford to do this and no. Even at the end of the game, right? Like I said, I only saw Bloomfield and Clark come over. The others didn't come over, mate. Why? Come over. You're part of this. Yeah, you're part of this. It's just an absolute joke. And yeah, obviously I did put this comment up. Yeah, I agree, mate. I agree. Yates, he's not known for scoring headed goals. So why are we just spamming crosses into the box? And this corner, I'm sick, and we said it on the last reaction. This corner shit. Why does Clark come short? That's a manager thing, telling him to do. Why? If he's just going to cross it into the box, why? Obviously,
I don't know. I don't know because we don't seem to. I don't think Bloomfield done that at Wickham. We done that under Edwards as well. That sort of stuff. So I reckon that's coming from the coaching side, mate.
Yeah, it's stupid. I just don't see the point.
The free kicks, but definitely, situations are definitely, we're trying things and that.
Yeah, like you said, that was a well-worked free kick. But then from that moment in, we had a lot of momentum. Could have went on to win the game, and then we just do some stupidness.
Yeah, the 10-minute spell. That was it.
Yeah, it's just stupidness, really. Yeah, it was frustrating. When it comes to that, other comments. Yeah, there is that. There is that, Terry, mate. I do agree. Because also, if they come in and they do well, for example, Chigoze has, when he has played, they are sort of stamping their claim in the team. And, you want to see youngsters come through. Obviously, we have seen it. Obviously, with Nelson. Obviously, I know he's injured at the moment. Johnson. You'd like to see it. I think Chigoze is probably the next one. I'm not looking at Richards because I'm talking about players that have been, obviously, at the club longer than youngsters. But yeah, no, I agree. Like I say, I wouldn't mind seeing him on Saturday if Makoso done something that was so bad, yet he still come on. I don't understand that. Yeah, I really don't. Yeah, the fact he's sitting at home, Phil, mate, I can't agree with that. Yeah, I can't agree with that. Like I say, I wouldn't start him, but yeah, he should definitely be given a chance coming off from the games. And again, I know the opposition weren't the best, but I thought against Barnet he was actually all right. To be fair to him, and like my dad said, he's got a lot of League One experience for a player of his age, so he should be in the squad more. I keep forgetting that we actually have him, to be fair, because he's just not in the squad. Yeah, I have to agree with this. I've said it for a while. I think that aspect's got to change. Stadium stuff, it's all well and good, but, I don't care about this stadium in League One, mate. I want the football success to at least by the time we have that stadium, be in the Championship. But the way it's going right now, I cannot see that. I really cannot see that. But yeah, big up to Mick as well, mate. Hope you're well. But yeah, moving on, we will get into the player ratings. I did do a poll as well, guys, so do get involved in that if you haven't already. 7 votes so far. I basically said who should play right back if Luton played a back four. We're taking Walters out because he's injured. And obviously you would put him in. Well, I would because he is actually a right back. If he was available, I've done Longwick, Kadoa, and then other. As it stands, Kadoa is slightly winning that vote, which is quite interesting. But yeah, do obviously get involved in that if you haven't already. But yeah, moving into the player ratings itself, obviously Keeley in goal. I mean, there was a moment I didn't mention at the start of the game, like the proper start, where they hit the woodwork. I think his positioning was slightly off personally. I mean, you should not be, if that went in, people will be going, oh, it shouldn't be getting done from that angle, rare tear, tear. I mean, someone said it in my reaction. He ain't been great the last two games, and I have to agree. I have to agree. He wasn't as bad as obviously the Plymouth game, but I don't feel he was too great in this game. Obviously, not one of the worst players, but yeah, not great for me. So yeah, I'm gonna actually give him a 5.5 to be quite honest with you. So yeah, that's my rating for Josh Keeley. What is your rating, Dad?
I'm going to give him a 5.5. Thought he's poor on the last goal, particularly.
And that.
He did make that good save, but didn't really. It wasn't. It's not. Everyone's going for his being commanding and stuff, but I don't know. Not considering, but it's going through the whole team and it's the confidence thing. If he was playing in a team that he probably thought he was going to join, the Man City of League One kind of thing, then it'd excel. But I think it's coming into his mentality as well a little bit. Do you know what I mean? And this is why, you need just more experienced heads, man. More people that just want to, and that normally comes from the manager and filters down to the players or whatever. And that's what we haven't got. But yeah, 5.5 for this game.
Yeah, no, I have to agree with that. But yeah, moving on to the next player, we'll go over to Mengi. Should have been off at half time. I cannot think of one good thing he did or half decent thing he did in this game, guys. I mean, you think of the first goal, he's not even marking. You think of that moment of madness. He got a yellow card. He fouled their player who weren't even on the ball. He got done up before that, I think slightly before that, and they went forward on the left-hand side. Footballers that cannot take a throw-in, that actually does my head in. That seriously annoys me. So I don't know if I've ever gave this, but I cannot think of one half decent thing he done. So I'm giving him a flipping 0, mate.
Oh no, I ain't gonna know. So
I can't think of one good thing he done.
I'll just give him a 5, mate. It was, he probably shouldn't have started. Let's have that right straight away. And this is where it goes back to maybe you should find him. Like you said, if you're going to bring him on still, Makoso, you've gone up. You said about, and I will defend him in this. He's come out so where he needs to sort of build that thing up back with the fans. But then you've not really given because you've thrown him on when he's not fully fit. Do you know what I mean? Like you haven't helped that situation, and this. I'm sorry, but this comes from the managers. You know what I mean? But so I'll give him a 5.
Yeah, fair enough. I just can't think of one good thing. Moving on to Anderson. I mean, me personally, I know a lot of people don't really rate him. I mean, I feel a bit sorry for him at the moment because I don't think he's been dreadful this year. Obviously, the opening games is, one of our best players. But the games recently, I don't think he's been bad. I just think there's just been moments from the team which has been the overall letdown. But yeah, I don't think he's awful in this game. I'll give him 6.5.
I'll just give him 6. Weren't really at fault for any of the goals. Do you know what I mean? He's at any long comeback himself, but makeshift, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, maybe with an opportunity with McGuinness gone, maybe it's a chance for him to try and stamp his mark on the team. But yeah, we'll see in that, defence. Moving on to Naismith. Again, I don't think he was terrible in the game. I can't really think of too much wrong or right. So I'll probably just give him a 6.5 again, to be fair.
Yeah, I don't think he. Obviously, it's disappointing when he come off, and people are alluding to the fact that maybe he weren't happy with his performance. But I don't think it was terrible. I don't think he was really at fault for any of the goals. We know he can do more. We know he was talking after the Plymouth game about certain things. But he needs people to make runs. He needs people to be on that level, and then you get the best Naismith. So do you know what I mean? Again, it's tactics. Clark come out. Oh, it's not tactics. It is fucking tactics. It's players that have been picked for certain positions. Do you know what I mean? To yourself, what you're doing, yeah, do you know what I mean? You can play pretty much anywhere across the thing because you've done that for Luton Town for years. But it's not getting through to everyone else. Do you know what I mean? So I'll just give him 6.5.
Oh, I'm on mute. Sorry. Yeah, no, I agree with that. Mick says very average. Yeah, a lot of players like that. He does also say, I just don't know what's happening with our club. We changed manager and loaded the team, still getting the crap results we got when we had Edwards in charge. Yeah, and again, that's why I think, accountability has to be taken everywhere, even above, because it's the same. I mean, look at our managers. Obviously, I know Nathan Jones was a little bit different because he, went to obviously Southampton, Premier League opportunity. But look at Edwards. That's a great example. And me personally, I think it might still be a bit shaky at some point. Not like they'll be mid-table, but just like end up fighting for playoffs. But right now, I mean, I did watch him the other night. They got another win. And say what you want about him. I mean, they had an awful preseason, but this year they've come into the actual championship season and they've been, top of the league. So you look at that and you think, well, it's obviously, it's got to be somewhere else as well. Within that as well. But yeah, moving on to the next player, we'll go over to Longwick. Let's say it just doesn't work in that position. It just really doesn't, and I'm getting sick of seeing it, to be quite honest with you. So yeah, when it comes to him, I'm just going to give him 5.5.
6.
Fair enough. Moving on to we'll go over to Ali. Again, it's not similar to Longway. It's not going to work in this type of game. Putting him there, it's much better when he's able to run at players and things like that. But when it comes to the defensive work, not good enough. So yeah, for me, 6.
Yeah, same. Like, when they scored their, I think it's their first goal, he's played on that side and he's never going to get it. He's not defensive enough. He's not tall enough. Yeah, he tries though. He does try, Ali. He even tries to get into the positions, but he's doing what is asked of him, but it just doesn't work. If you can't do it, you can't do it. Do you know what I mean? So yeah, 6.
Yeah, no, exactly, and that is the problem. With these players we're playing there, that's why I don't like to see it, because none of them are naturally, there. Obviously, I'm counting players that we played it. Obviously Bramwell is a natural one, so I'm not referring to him. But I mean, the best one I would say that's been there, that's on the left or right, that's not a natural player there, is probably Kadoa. And I can't understand why he was not in the team. It just doesn't make sense to me. Or even Morris starting. One of them should have started. It just doesn't make sense. It really, really doesn't. Yes, Ali was poor. Yeah, I agree. I agree. He weren't great, but I said it going into it. It's not going to work there. But yeah, moving on to Saville. Yeah, like you said earlier, Dad, his second worst game for Luton. I'd say the first one was Wimbledon.
No worse than no one else though.
Yeah, no, definitely. But he was just a bit more, I'd say, a little bit sloppy in possession, things like that. But I still believe, he'll do well in these type of games going forward, and he will be one of our better players. But yeah, just not a great game from him, but not as bad as others. So I'll give him a 6.5 still.
Yeah, 6.5. Like, he went in on tap. Was a yellow card, but I think he was a bit more frustrated. You could say some of the first goal was his fault, but then the defence should be doing their fucking job. After that, he's not going to win it or play everything perfectly in that. It's football. And the motivation, he needs to be in. He is, again, a player that is at his best when the team's out there fighting, like where he was before. Every season underestimated, always, get good wins, being in and around the playoffs, etc., etc. And that's where you get the best out of some players. And dressing room. I think there's a lot going on. I think you need to, yeah. I personally think that we will end up sacking Bloomfield. But yeah, go on next.
Okay, before we do that, when do you think it'll be? If you had to do a rough estimation.
Within the next 3 games, like I say, if we don't get, I don't expect. You can't say you've got to get maximum points. But I think you've got to get at least 6.
Yeah, I'd have to agree. That's 2
And
wins.
performances have to be there at the least.
Yeah, and that is the frustration. Like, you have one good performance.
Do you know what I mean? You know.
Yeah, that's the frustration. It goes back to what I said. We've had, like, in the league, we've had one good performance, and that was against a Burton side who are going to be in a relegation battle, might even go down themselves. Do you know what I mean? Like, the performance levels have not been there, and that is a repetitive cycle of this year, last year, and that is why fans are getting frustrated. I'm sure if we lost games but we played well, obviously there'd still be guys who didn't quite win, but there'd be a bit more like, okay, at least we tried, at least we went for it. But some of the mistakes we're doing in games, like the individual mistakes, and just crap errors. I mean, you look at Lincoln's second goal, you look at all the goals against Plymouth, for Plymouth, shall I say. Do you know what I mean? It's just frustrating. So yeah, that's what I will say on that. Yeah, I mean, Burley says it here. Performance is key. Exactly, mate. But yeah, moving on to the next part. We'll go over to Clark. Like we say, was one of the better players in this game. Obviously, good goal, good finish. And yeah, from there on in, we thought we could maybe get something out of the game. Took a draw. Definitely given that I said we'd lose, but obviously wasn't to be. Like I say, credit to him coming over, being the only player to actually go over after the game. But yeah, as for a rating for Clark, I'll give him a 7. He's one of the better players.
He's my man of the match. I'll still give man of matches. That generally most of the time. Yeah, he was looking for pockets of space, getting involved, like trying to work the ball. Look lively out compared to everyone else. Let's have it right, apart from maybe Wells for me. And yeah, great finish. If we'd have been on the winning team with that goal, we'd have been marveling about that goal, because it was a lovely finish. Above the level, one of them, and he deserved it. And I feel sorry for him, because he looked a bit, not broken, but like very, very frustrated in his interview, because he would have been one of the guys who'd have been thinking, last time I was in this league, I really enjoyed it. Do you know what I mean? Like, we done well, and that's what he'd have been looking at, and it's just not happening. It's very interesting, but the fact that he's still putting that performance, man of match 7.
Yeah, I mean, some comments here. Must admit, I really thought Bloomfield was the man, but he's coming across as Edwards Mark 2. Yeah, I hear it, mate. I definitely hear it. I mean, I was sort of thinking a couple of weeks ago, could he be, like I said earlier, could he be that type of manager who would, like, sort of give constructive criticism behind closed doors, essentially? But he just doesn't seem that guy.
Yeah, I think what it is, this is the thing. Like, Edwards is doing well right at the moment. When he's on the crest of a wave, or gets a good start or whatever, then he's fine. And what we found with Edwards, when crisis things started to happen, then he couldn't deal with it, and he ain't had that yet at Middlesbrough. So it'd be very, very interesting to see if that. And this is a similar thing that's going on with Bloomfield. So if he can turn it around, even just for free, we go on a winning streak, and then we go back a little bit. But if he can, turn it around, like 99% of the time we would do under Nathan Jones, or even other previous managers, or even other teams are doing it, then we'll see what he's within them 3 games. I think you've seriously got to look at it. You can't be going, yeah, but all right, they will not. I can't see them making that same mistake as they did last season. Not that we get relegated, but you can't have that. All right, mid-table. What are you doing? Look at Charlton last season. Started off quite slow, not major. And they had a little period as well, to be fair to them, where Nathan Jones was being criticised, and then they went on that remarkable run. This is what we want Bloomfield to be doing, but I don't know. Just sometimes you see in there's a lot of pressure. He's a human being. Like sometimes you see how people reacting to that, and Nathan Jones was always defiant. Always and I'm not, but he was saying the right things. Bloomfield, he believes in himself. He believes, but you need to see it on the pitch. Even gradually, like a big step up from the last game. Most of the players we were unlucky. That kind of thing. And I think if you don't see that over the next 3 games, then it will start getting nasty. That's the problem.
Yeah.
Than it did with Rob Edwards. Much, much more. It's already bordering on that. So, yeah.
Yeah, like I say, I wasn't there, but from what I did hear, Lincoln, it was very similar to Sheffield United away, and I was at Sheffield United way. Like I say, that's where my head turned with Rob Edwards. And like I say, a lot of people would have been like that now, or are like that now with Bloomfield. And, say for example, we go 1-0 down on Saturday, mate, it's going to be mental, especially at home. So, yeah, I just, with the same consistent stuff happening with certain players selected and like in the positions they're in and things like I can't see where it gets better. I really, really can't see where it gets better. Especially with the games we've got coming up. Got to feel sorry for Clark as he really does care about the club. Yeah, I totally agree. I mean, he's been at the club obviously, a very long time now, obviously throughout the whole leagues and stuff. And, I feel sorry for him. Like I say, I still stand by what I say in the sense of I don't think he's a leader. However, he's a very good player on his day, and it goes, he's another player for me. You have to be like out of the midfield, you've got to be letting him like attack. He's actually a right winger. He can play as a cam. I don't like seeing him do a bit of both. I like to see him in sort of an advanced role, and we saw it briefly in pre-season, and again the opposition wasn't great, but it works. Do you know what I mean? Like it will work in this league if you play him right, and very good finish, very good well worked goal, and yeah, like I say, the only starting 11 player, I'd probably say that was good to be fair. Burley have a slightly different opinion to obviously most people. I think it's too early to get rid of Matt. I think the decision will be made after the international break. Yeah,
That makes more sense because then it gives 2 weeks and the timing of it, and that does come into play. But if by then we're like flirting above the relegation zone, you're going to want it much quicker than that. If we lose the next 3 games, you ain't giving him till November. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, and it goes back to what you said earlier, Dad. I do think, obviously, if we continue on a poor run, which I'll be honest, I could probably see it with these type of games we got, Stevenage, I could see that being the nail in the coffin, to be honest, because, people don't really count it as a rivalry, but, we're close.
But it is at the moment.
Well, yeah, it is at the moment, but that's what I'm saying. If we lose that, which has a heavy chance, I mean, yes, form goes out the window, but, look how they're doing, especially, I mean, when we were better, I would argue, well, maybe not better, but when we were on a better sense of form, we lost them in that League Cup. We were at that game, Dad. We were absolutely fuming. Didn't even score a penalty. Didn't even put a penalty on target. Do you know what I mean? They're playing better now. They're a better side now. You would say we're a better side now, but we're not playing like it. So that could be the decider for me. With the way things are going. Burley says, yes, you're so right about Edwards. Was good when winning, but when you're in the mire, can you change it? Yeah, exactly. And he didn't, did he? Well, similar to Bloomfield, he sort of, went with players in positions that just doesn't work and things like that. G1 says, Matt preferred a back 4. Surely we can do this. Yeah, I mean, what did he play? A 4-2-3-1. But the way I'd see it, I just think, me personally, like I said the other day, until Walters is back, I just don't think we've got the personnel to put someone at right back. I mean, Kadoa could do an all right job there, but it's not natural to him really. And wing back's a little bit. Do you know what I mean? He can like I don't know.
Like anyway, we put forward about and we look good. We got that, but then we could see the 2 shit goals.
I just think the fact we haven't got another left back and a right back is the reason we ain't going to go up. Obviously, the decisions and things as well in game and stuff, but that is a massive thing for me. I mean, Rich is in the chat. Me and him we're probably the 2 most heavily people saying we need a right back. I mean, a lot of people are just looking at left back. I think we needed both. Because we're still, let's be honest, we're still very sceptical about Waters. Yes, he's young. You know what I mean? He's obviously a player there to be on, Arsenal's bench all them seasons ago. But you need someone with a bit of experience. Yeah, and that's what we haven't done. We put players there who are not natural there. Like I like Kadoa, but again, I think it's a similar thing to the others. I don't think it'll work against the better teams. So yeah, that's how I see it. Other comments. Phil says he was there. It's not a good vibe. Yeah, I see obviously glimpses and videos and things as well. Yeah, exactly, mate. Exactly. And if we start off, I'd say even if it's like, say for example, it's 0-0 at half time, but we're sloppy in possession, like we have been a lot of home games this year, mate. It's gonna be, yeah, I agree. It's gonna get really, really toxic, like you say. But yeah, moving on to the next player, we'll go over to Nelson. Me personally, like I said, I wouldn't have started him. However, the start of the second half, I don't think he was too bad, to be fair to him. But yeah, he wasn't as bad as other players, so I'll just give him a 6.5.
Yeah, I'll give him 6 point. Come on. He's showing certain touches and that, but again, him particularly being a young player needs to be around all these experienced so-called better players. Do it. Helping him, be his best version of himself. And, he sort of, he was pretty good in this game at stages, I thought. Won the free kicks and things like that. Was looking to get the ball forward. So, yeah, 6.5. Yates, let's rush through these because it's just getting long. Yates, I'm going to give a 5.
Yeah, I'd agree.
But again, what I will say is, his strong points are being in the box, playing it on the floor to him and things like that. And if we're not doing that, he ain't going to be the best version of himself. Wells is slightly different because I think he can take it on. He's more of a runner. I think he's a bit more intelligent player. And he done right, so I'll give him a 6.5.
Yeah, I'll go slightly lower for Wells, but yeah, I do think he was better. I'll give him a 6. And then the subs, were obviously Gabode. I actually thought he was all right, to be fair to him, when he come on. Yes, he got a yellow card, but he was better than a lot of players that were obviously starting in the game. And I do want to see a bit more of him, to be fair, because obviously you look at him compared to obviously Archer. We've not loaned Gabode back out. We've had him in the squad, so surely you want him to play a part at certain times in certain games. So let's see more of him. I thought he was not too bad, to be fair. I'll give him a 6.
Yeah, I'll give him 6. I thought he looks very physical. He look, do you know what I mean? I said before, like he's not really probably going to be affected by this squad, atmosphere, whatever is going on at the moment. But it will eventually if we don't change things. But yeah, he looks hungry, and it could be worth giving him a start. But I'd still probably start Nordas above him if Wells is still starting. But I'll give him a 6. Morris, again, looked lively. Had players on him, was trying to do probably had too much to do at times, do you know what I mean? But still looked lively, and, give him a chance as well in that position. If you're going to play, Longwick in that position, you might as well just play him in that position as well, I'll give him a 6 as well.
Makosa, 6.5. I thought he was second best player behind Clark, to be fair.
Makosa, obviously, we found out, about this, that, and the other. Come on, obviously, he's going to be in between, like, yeah, I've got to do really well. Do you know what I mean? It's a psychological thing. Tried to be clever and head it back to Anderson. It's not a decision you should be making. And then 5 I'm going to give him.
I agree.
Bramall, again, do you know what I mean? Needs more time on the pitch. Does half a decent job when he does come on or whatever. I'll give him a 6.5. I think he needs to start. I really do. I think we look, he can do the defensive work. It's naturally, he can play in left back. You know what I mean? So yeah. And then Nordas 2.6.
Yeah, he can't really vote. Excuse me, for him. But yeah, I'll just quickly run through the points and then we'll do the poll in regards to the answers. So the points as it stands, me and Jamie were the only two that gained some points this weekend because we both said 2-1 Lincoln. So I'll just run through the points. I won't run through the scores. So I'm on 5 now. Dadju's still on 2. Jackie's on 6. Rich is on 4. Paul's on 6. Stephen's on 5. Tom's on 1. Phil's on 2. Andy's on 2. In the lead still is Darth Vader. He's on 8. So I'm counting for you, mate. Ben's on 5. Terry's on 3. Blitz is on 3. Chat GPT is on 4. I think Chat GPT actually said a draw. Yeah, which for one spell it looked like it could happen. And then, like I say, Jamie's on 6. So, yeah, it's going to be interesting. But yeah, only 2 people gaining points, things like that so far for this game. But yeah, I mean, I'll be honest, Mick. Me personally, I just don't think it will get that bad. Like I say, the fact we've won 4 games and we ain't played good bar 1 game. I just don't. And there's a lot of poorer teams in this league, and especially against a lower sort of opposition. You see it in the Wimbledon game, for example. Our quality shone for it. Like them type of games, it will, but it's just the top end teams, like the teams we should be competing with. I just don't see us beating a lot of them right now as it stands, just down to certain situations and things like that. So yeah, the fact we've got 4 wins, I can't see it, to be quite honest with you. That's just my personal opinion. So yeah, that's that really. But yeah, in terms of the poll, we'll go through the poll quickly. Obviously, like I did say, if we played a back 4 with Walters out, who would you play as that right back? And the majority votes is actually Kadoa, 69%. Longweek's got 23. Other, by the way, if anyone put other that's still in the chat, let me know who that other player is. But yeah, Kadoa is the vote for that, Dad, as the right back if we had to play a back 4. Thoughts on that?
Yeah, well, I think it's when he has sort of defended, he looks quite well. Quite good at it. Obviously, Jones, we'll have to see if he comes back and that. Because he's played at that position before and should be quite capable at League One, but I feel like he prefers to go forward. Do you know what I mean? As does but we'll see. That's the only options we got really. And I think if we did play a back 4, I don't want to see necessarily players bombing forward. I want them just to be doing their defensive work, and whoever the right winger is, say for instance it's Morris, then let him do all the bombing forward. Do you know what I mean? Obviously, it's not Kadoa's ideal position, but for the time being, if you want to keep playing and you can do that job, then you're going to still be happy about it. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah, and I think with Kadoa, another strong point he does have is his slide tackles. They're really, really good, man. I mean, that one against Wigan, that was a great tackle. And yeah, I mean, ideally, if I was the manager, I guess, I'd love to see us play like a 4-3-3 because the amount of wingers we've got, like you say, you could have a right back who's obviously doing the defensive work. For me, I'd put Walters because he's the only one if he was available. If he wasn't, I'd agree with you guys. I'd probably go Kadoa, even though I don't really think it's ideal. But in terms of him and the others that are in that selection, I'd have to go with that. But yeah, like I say, we got the wingers. You still have that 3 in midfield. You sort of have Saville and then 2 in front, sort of thing. And then obviously, we've got the wingers. You could have Morris on that right. You could have obviously Jones when he's back, which I agree with you. I've said it for time. I think he's much better going forward. And then on the left, well, there's options. Obviously, you got, I know Gabode can play there. There's other players as well on top of that as well. And then obviously, up front, There's a lot of decisions, and probably when he's proper into the swing of things, you'd probably go El Hamady, really. I mean, Yates, the way we're playing with Yates is not working, and he hasn't been great, really, let's be honest, especially the last game. Wells is obviously 35. I mean, Nordos is more of a link-up player, but I can't see us doing one. That's essentially one up front anyway, innit? I can't really see it, especially the amount of strikers we do have at the football club. But yeah, I just think us not getting there, another left back and a right back, that is the disappointing thing for me. In terms of, when we look to change formation, I just don't really know if it's going to make a huge difference just due to not getting them players really. Obviously on the left it's not as bad because you can put Bramwell there, but for some reason we're just starting him. When he should be playing, especially in that last game. I said it going into it. Very, very frustrating. But yeah, big up to Billy, mate. Hope you're well. Hello, hello. Big up to yourself. Big up to LU3 Beats. Just tuned in. What have I missed? Basically, mate, we just ran through the whole Lincoln game with player ratings and, how many games has Bloomfield got. Did do a poll that's gone now. If we were to play a back back four with the right back, who would you go with? Excluding Walters because he's injured with what we have right now. So yeah, man. Yeah, mate. I mean, it's higher up. It's higher up do have to take accountability. Like I say, I mean, look at flipping. A great example of that is look at how Rob Edwards is doing. Like we said, we did also touch on that as well. So yeah, obviously I'm streaming on a new platform, so it's the first version of seeing the super chat. So thank you very much for that, Billy. Don't spend it all in one go. Yeah, it's quite interesting on here, actually. It's like slightly different colour and things. I'm not on StreamYard like I was before. Found this other one. I'll shout them out. Talk Studio, Streamlabs. Shout out to them. Really good offers, actually. And that is where I got the intro from. Outro I made myself. But yeah, big up to yourself, mate. Thank you very much for that as well. Yeah, I mean, it's not going to, let's be honest. It's not going to, but I hate to say this, and I think I said it to you the other day, Dad. And people might say I'm overreacting here. I don't think I am. If this continues, I can see it getting to a similar stage like how it is with West Ham at the moment.
Yeah, that's honestly, you hear it, I don't care, but they have brought so much to the club. They rescued it. Do you know what I mean? They're not going to be perfect 100%. As long as they understand what's going on and how to rectify it, that's what we care about. You know what I mean? And I don't think, you know what I mean? Like, who are we going to get in? Let's not muck around out here. Do you know what I mean? Because it could be a lot worse. You can get some foreign owners in who don't really care. Look at other clubs. Look at Sheffield Wednesday. Do you know what I mean? It happens, yeah? You don't want that. Fundamentally, you do not want that. But obviously, you want them to make the right decisions. And that, let's have it clear. They are supporters of the club as well.
Yeah, it's just, I mean, right now, I know obviously they are, save the club. Obviously, you always get the respect for that. But yeah, I just think certain things like, yes, it's great. When it comes to the stadium, it's great what we're doing. It's going to be sick when it's actually there and things like that. But I think it seems like from the outside looking in, it seems like they're too over focused on that, and the football side of things. It's not. Do you know what I mean? Because at the end of the day, if we're playing in League One, which is looking likely, let's be honest, we are not going to be nowhere near selling that out. I'm sorry. That is the thing. That is the thing for me. That is really frustrating in terms of that. And yeah, it's just, I don't know, man. I don't know. It's just, it's just frustrating, really, to be quite honest with you. But yeah, because it's like I say, for me, it's not in terms of how much we're spending. It's the fact that we're just going, oh yeah, look at this though. It should be good when it's through. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's just it's frustrating. Izzy Jones a conundrum when he I think he meant to put comes back. Yeah, comes back. Yeah, I mean, like I say, I want to see him higher personally. Like if we were to, I don't. Obviously, maybe if we change manager, we might change formation. Maybe. Probably still wouldn't. But if we were, I wouldn't want to see him as a right back. I really wouldn't. I think he's much better as a winger. And to be fair, you know, I'd probably start him when he's like proper into the swing of things higher up. If we were to like have a change in formation, with a different manager, because I just can't see where this gets better for Bloomfield. You know, seeing the same things and the teams we got as well. Like, no disrespect, but it's not like we're playing like Mansfield. Do you know what I mean? Someone like that. Like, do you know what I'm saying? Like, come on now. Like, I just can't see where it gets better. It's the system. Yeah, yeah. For me, one thing I will say though is the fact that you know we just didn't get a left back or right back. Another one that is a disappointment for me. And you know, we all knew Doughty was going to go. I mean, we said it earlier. You know, most of us knew that was going to happen. So where's the replace? Like, do you know what I'm? Oh, it's just annoying. Like, it's just like you know, people can go Bramall, but then if Bramall gets injured, what? Do you know what I mean? We haven't got no one. Like, you're just going to be doing the same crap. You're going to be putting players there who are not, you know, not the players there. And that's the frustrating thing for me. And I did say on the, I think it's before the last week of the window, that could be, and I said it on a hat show, you probably see it somewhere. That is the be all or end all for me of us not going up. And that weren't even down to the tactics or anything like that. That was just looking at our squad overall. Yes, our attack, you know, looks great, but if you can't defend, you know, it doesn't matter. Like, what? Outscore teams, like, sort of what it seems like we're hoping on, to me. Can't even buy an ice cream for two. Yeah, I know, mate. It's just mental, isn't it? Yeah, there could be a part of that, Mick. There could be a part of that. Obviously, like my dad said earlier, I did have the, you know, someone that was at Coventry that was very good for a very long time. But we'll see with him. We'll see. I mean, I still think they'll have a rough patch at some point because it does remind me of us in ways, like when he come in the sense of they started. Obviously, we've done really well when he first come in. Can he continue it? That's the thing. You know, I do. Me personally, I do think they will. You know, maybe slip up at some point slightly. Yeah, and even the Bramwell, well, I guess appointment, whatever you want to call it. I mean, we weren't convinced. Let's be honest. You know, I remember we obviously spoke about it, Dad, and we was a bit like iffy about it. I mean, he's done all right to be fair to him, but I just feel you needed someone else, man. I mean, yeah, um, yeah. Again, I mean, you look at the player himself, and you're like, yes, it's a great player, but you know, you look at, you know, injured long term. It's just frustrating, really, really frustrating. And to be fair, yes, we haven't seen him play. You know, unless you watch Rotherham, but I highly doubt anyone in here did. Loads anyway. You know, you can see that he might be the guy that because obviously he can play right back. He might be that answer there when you know he is back, but not straight away, obviously. But as you know, his time at Luton goes on, but I don't know, man. I haven't seen him play, so I'm not really going to sit here and say I have. To be honest, so I can't really judge him. That's why when I talk about you know a CDM and other right back, I don't really talk about him because I haven't seen him play. Um, Nah, big up to yourself anyway, Billy, mate. I appreciate everyone tuning in, mate. It's all good. It's all good, mate. But yeah, big up to everyone that is inside. I think we are going to end it here. But yeah, Dad, any final things you want to say before we be back again on Friday?
So we just got to wait until Saturday, long wait till Saturday, and hope you know things improve. That's it. You just got to see what rides out now because it is interesting times. So,
Yeah,
yeah.
indeed. Yeah, it certainly is. And if results don't come thick or fast or performances get better, then I can only see one thing for Bloomfield, and that is him out. So yeah, we'll see. Expecting a press conference to come out on Wednesday, like it has been this season. So depending on what's said, I might do a video reacting to it. So yeah, that's content, and then yeah, there'll be a YouTube short out tomorrow, something from this stream, and then yeah, from there on in, obviously, we build up to that game against Doncaster, obviously on Friday, like I say, hat show. Saturday, there will be a reaction from myself. And then, yeah, we'll be back again on Monday. And like we said, going forward, we're going to do the hat shows every Friday and Monday. So, yeah, and obviously, if we play on like a Wednesday, for example, we'll still do it on a Monday. And things like that. We'll just do that, stick time and stuff going forward. So yeah, big up to everyone that's tuned in. But yeah, big up to Billy inside. Have a good one, lads. You too, mate. Big up to Phil as well. But yeah, appreciate everyone that's tuned in tonight. Especially given I know a lot of people don't really want to when we're doing crap because they just don't want to, let their frustrations out and talk about it again. But yeah, big up to everyone that has tuned in. Do appreciate it. Do smash a like if you haven't already. Do subscribe as well. Shout out to all the new subscribers. If you haven't already, but I'm sure most of you have, do check out my match reaction from the other day. And yeah, man, like I say, smash a like, subscribe, follow me across all my socials, even if you're watching on playback. Subscribe to the extra channel. And yeah, until Friday, for sure. We will see you guys in a bit. So yeah, big up to everyone. Take care and peace. Yeah, Billy, do avenge us, mate.